I hope that fired you up to get impossibly meaty muscle mass. My name is Bald Omni-Man, and I'll be your host for today as I present you the newest installment of my ongoing training log. I hope you enjoy. Before we get into that, I want to quickly say thank you for the positive feedback on the videos lately. I've been taking a different approach to content creation this year, overall to be more entertaining and just give you better quality videos that I actually enjoy making. It feels really good to see you guys enjoy the process. Thanks again, fellas. Let's get to work. I'm starting off with 190 pounds for 3 reps on some deep weighted dips, which is about 10 pounds up from the best set of 3 that I've ever done, at least on this exercise. I've gotten a lot of questions about how to make the grip more comfortable. So pretty simple here. I'm just going to demonstrate with my broomstick. You want to grab it in the meat of your hand and not necessarily in the middle of your hand. That's going to leave you, my friend, feeling a heck of a lot more stacked. And overall, it's going to alleviate a lot of that pain and make you feel a lot stronger. Next up, what you see here is 170 pounds, that's a 35 in the middle, for 6 solid ass reps, which is 15 pounds up from my previous best set of 6. Another thing that I like to keep in mind with heavy dips specifically, so when you're working in like the 80% plus range for sets of 5 to 8, is to intentionally hold the lockout, because the fact of the matter is that even with a good dip belt like the one I'm using from Bells of Steel, the plates are going to sway back and forth, buddy. It's like death and taxes. You can't avoid it. And on top of that, I say it time and time again, at the top of a dip, you're locking out more weight total between your body weight and the load added than you can even on a bench press. So you're giving yourself the unique opportunity of overloading your tricep strength, which is super helpful for every other press. I do hope you find that tidbit helpful in your quest for getting big, jacked, and stacked dips. Check out this video I made on my preferred dip technique from a basic standpoint if you want to learn a little bit more. But the thing that I really love about dips more than just the way that they feel is the fact that I'm not very emotionally invested in them. And this is something that I've been thinking about. You've heard of the 80-20 rule. I don't have to explain that to you. I recommend adopting a 70-30 rule, and by that I mean 70% of the exercises in your program, stuff you're fired up about, stuff you emotionally care about, you're emotionally invested in it. The other 30% should be comprised of stuff that you know is effective, that you don't even necessarily dislike, but your ego is separated away from it. And I think it's those exercises where you're focused a lot more on the execution, just getting in good quality work, is the difference maker between, say, making the most gains that you can in a year and then making pretty good gains. Barbell curl is definitely another one of those exercises for me that I like doing, but I'm not emotionally invested in the amount that I curl. Case in point, I just incorporated a new technique tweak that took 4 or 5 reps off of my 135 pound set and makes the exercise overall feel a lot harder, but a bit more effective as well. What I'm doing is I'm basically imagining an invisible wall in front of my body, and I'm curling from there. Not necessarily with my shoulders fully flexed, but not really allowing my elbows to drag back very much. And it just feels a lot nicer on the biceps that way. In terms of tricep stuff on this day, I've been periodizing my tricep work a little bit differently than I have in the past. Pretty much I'm at the point where I have a litany of exercises that work very well, and it's not so much progressing on any one of them that is driving progress for me, as opposed to just generally making progress on each of them as a whole. So by that I mean, if I have to, say, one week do 2 days of press downs, 1 day of extensions, I'll do that if that's what my elbows and my tendons need to recover, and vice versa. If I have weeks on end where I can do all extensions, I'm gonna do all extensions. Or if I need a day where I do something light like this, I'm absolutely going to do that, because I know that the biggest rate limiter of my progress at this point is not necessarily a special exercise for my triceps. It's not hurting myself. But being that this is obviously very light, considering that I've JM pressed 2.5 plates for reps, I'm still doing these from a dead stop, just to again make this lightweight a little bit more challenging in this higher rep range. And I very much so advocate for you taking just the opportunity to do a lighter exercise, but still do something to make it challenging, and just do that as opposed to loading up like normally I would do overhead extensions with the full stack plus like 30 pounds added to it for a bunch of reps. I could have did that, but then my tricep tendon would have been like, dude, what the fuck are you doing? Anyways, I've talked about this time and time again in terms of the back work that I do on all my pressing workouts. I do a horizontal row and then a vertical pull down. Lately on the rows, particularly these chest supported rows, I've enjoyed holding the top for a split second, whether that's a second in actuality or I can just feel the squeeze at the top. I don't know what it is about that, but I just feel that works my middle back that much more. But I don't find the same thing to be true on the vertical pulls. The vertical pulls, if I do hold the top for a second, it's more so just to reduce the total rep count and then the amount of weight that I have to use. Say if like my tricep tendon is feeling a little achy or something in my back is feeling a little achy, but I still want to work my back. And in fact, my tricep has been a little banged up. So I've been doing things like tempos and pauses and drop sets like you see me doing here to limit the load, but still work effectively with this movement pattern. And some may be wondering, well, why not just do more rowing on this workout? I asked myself that question a lot over the years, and the answer for that is pretty simple from my perspective. It's just to avoid overuse in a repetitive movement pattern. And honestly, recovery not being on par as I am in a lean state compared to a bulk state is just par for the course. On top of that, diet has been a little suspect with the holidays, fellas. I mean, you go from eating a balanced diet, fruits, vegetables, carbs, electrolytes, all that, to multiple pounds of mostly jerk chicken, and that's it. You're not going to recover the same. On top of your sleep being suspect as well. Anyways, I finished up this particular session with some GHD sit-ups. Again, I did another drop set just because I don't want to do multiple straight sets. And at this point, I'm just trying to get the heck out the gym. And I'm already anticipating the question. What do you do if you can't do GHD sit-ups? Quite literally, whatever you have access to, whether that's doing weighted crunches on the floor, you have a fancy ab crunching machine, it's important that you build a surplus of general ab strength than it is the particular exercise you do. And the reason I say that is that not only will it just give you that big, blocky, defined ab look, especially when you're on the leaner side, but also from a compound lift perspective, it'll build a surplus of stability in your core, which I think is really important in maintaining as opposed to chasing numbers on it per se, or doing a specific special exercise. Moving on to this banger exercise, the high incline Smith machine bench press. I'm doing it with a little form tidbit that I got from Alberto Nunez over at 3DMJ. You take a closer grip and a lower touch point. It's gonna allow you to lock into your upper pecs more. I talk about the cue more at length in the Berserk Method 2025, so please check that out after this video for more information. But this is one of those surgical exercises that I do where, again, I'm not concerned with the load that I am moving per se. Just good execution, progress over time, and the fact that it works my upper pecs specifically, nothing else. That ends chapter 1. Chapter 2 brings us to the cambered bar bench day and tidbits that I have for these exercises. The main thing that I think about when I do cambered bar bench press that I apply to my dumbbell press, my dips, and so on, anything with an extended range of motion, is control on the way down, but also control at the bottom, and that can come with or without a pause. When it comes to this idea of cambered bar bench press versus dumbbell press, I view it less as this is better than that as it is, I feel cambered bar pressing is just going to be a natural continuation to dumbbell pressing. Now, full disclosure, you can get a good range of motion even with big dumbbells, but quite frankly, it becomes a pain in the ass. Mostly from the perspective of just kicking up the heavy dumbbells, walking them back over to the rack. Let's say that you want your top set to be with 130s, you got to take them back to the rack and then pull out the 120s. It's just a lot of extra work compared to a cambered bar, which you can rack just like a regular barbell. It also standardizes and dummy proofs the range of motion. Inquiring minds might also want to know why I'm peeling my head up off the bench on every rep. First and foremost, I think it makes the traps look pretty cool. Mostly, that's just a cue for folks that have a lot of meat in their upper and mid back so that you have more room to get into a deep range of motion more comfortably. That's that in terms of the cambered bar bench. The only other thing that I have is just a strength goal that I want to hit by the end of the year, which is 300 pounds for a set of 5 to 8. I feel like that would be something I'd be satisfied with. Now, in terms of these rows, I really love these. Doing them with a rounded back feels excellent on getting the lats, the upper back, and everything that's involved in the row besides the arms, really. It just trashes them and it gets them into a position where they can work effectively. I think the reason for that is not only does a rounded back more closely mimic the position you would have in an overhead pull, but also the fact that I truncate or shorten the range of motion once my arms meet the midline of my torso. That kicks out the arms entirely. By arms, I mean biceps. From here, I'll show you a couple more staples that I put on my cambered bar bench day. I don't necessarily do all of these exercises all on the same day. It's really just iterations that I use depending upon how I've recovered or what I feel like working on. Here's some strict dumbbell curls, and I really love these as an accessory to adjunct my bicep training. Two things form-wise that I do with these curls. I make sure that I keep my chest up as much as I can and not let it sink down and back up. It's just gonna give you some horsepower at the bottom. Also, I try to keep my arms behind my body the entire time, which you can do because you have dumbbells. I feel it just stretches the bicep a lot more at the bottom. And if I could compare it to the feeling of anything, it'd be like a stiff-legged deadlift, the kind of stretch that you get on that. Also, in addition to cable rows, something else that I also do on this day is chest supported rows with lighter dumbbells, which for me is like 80, 85 pounds. I specifically do this for higher reps when my back is feeling beat to shit and I just need some blood flow driven to the muscles to help them recover a little bit better, while also still getting in a good workout. It's a similar thing that I do for my triceps. If I feel like I need to take a lighter day and just do higher reps and drive blood flow, I'm gonna absolutely do that. I'm a big believer in knowing what your 20 rep max is on the lifts that you care about, your 15 rep max, your 12 rep max, 5 rep max, everything in between. So also just from a curiosity standpoint, I like knowing what my 20 rep max is, okay? Another reason why this has really helped me outside of just the injury prevention and recovery stuff is just being okay with not lifting the most amount of weight that I possibly can. And what I mean by that observationally is when a new or intermediate lifter hits a PR on a lift that they really care about for the first time, they never want to be seen lifting weights that is not reflective of what they feel like they should be pushing given what their PR is. So it's a guy that benches 225 for the first time, and then every time that they go to the gym after that, they bench 225 instead of working out with a lighter weight and building back up to it. It's not that exact same prospect for me, but it's this idea of I'm okay with being seen lifting the 85-pound dumbbells on rows because I know that I need to at that point. Rant aside, here's my favorite shoulder isolation. I'm not going to talk about it too much here because I'm going to make my own video talking about it, but here is my favorite chest-supported exercise in general, chest-supported row, specifically with my Omni bar. I really like this because the knurling is so aggressive that I do not have to use straps, on top of just being able to grip more with a neutral grip. So it's a 1-2 whammy that just allows you to lock in with the bar and get to work, because I find using straps to be annoying sometimes. Anyway, this is what I deploy when my back is feeling fresh and recovered, and it's what I'm using as my main row performance metric for this day, as opposed to those lighter chest supported rows that I'm still pushing hard, but I don't care if at the end of the year, oh, I only put on 5 pounds to my 20 rep max on this lighter exercise that I'm doing for recovery. That's good to know, but I more so care about this chest supported row going from 275 for reps. And that's plate math. The bar isn't 45 pounds. I think it's like 25 pounds. But anyway, it going from 275 to 300 to 315 for reps. You feel me? Lastly, I am still on my road to hitting a 3-plate overhead press. Sam is still going to have to pay me for that hair transplant. I'm at 255 right now, and I'm raring up to hit 265, hopefully in a couple weeks. Hopefully I don't shit the bed. I at least want to get 260, but I'll update y'all on that soon. What's more important right now is this lower body accountability, just because I honestly don't record a lot of my lower body workouts because it's the same thing every time, usually between both sessions with small variations. And I just prefer to get the work done. But here's some deficit split squats with 2 plates for 15 reps. I added another plate of deficit on accident, right? Last time I did these, it was only 1 plate for my foot to have more range of motion. I used 2, and then I added, I think, 6 reps. So very happy with that. Probably did a little too good on this. Might have pushed it a little too far on the reps. Really wanted to get 20, but I figured it's probably a good idea to stop after 15 because lo and behold, the week after this, my adductor is just feeling crazy, right? So, but I do want to move forward with adding more load on these once that's sorted out. I really would like to do 3 plates for like 8 reps on this by the end of the year. That's all she wrote, fellas. I hope you enjoyed. I'm going to update you soon on when the 2025 exercise selection tier list drops. It's going to be a really big, really fun video for everybody to enjoy. And if you're interested in using that Omni bar that you saw me using throughout the video and also supporting the channel, go ahead and check that out in the description. We just restocked the Omni bar for you guys to enjoy. It also comes with a complimentary program. If you liked the video, like and subscribe. Check out these videos now that you watched this one. Have a great day. See you later.